just want to make a statement. The claims that have been focused at our program are all false. We do not pay players. We never have. We never will. So I do want to thank President Schill and Rob Mullins for their support the last couple days, but I'm not going to answer any more questions about that, but I did want to make that statement.
Can you say just what your reaction been this week as your program's been put through this kind of on a national level?
You know, nothing's changed. You know, our practices have been the same, and you know, like I said, the people who know me know me. The university's been great, Rob's been great, so nothing's really changed here.
And you have no concerns with this trial moving forward that anything about your program will come through there?
I don't.
Were you guys blindsided by this? Like, did you know this was coming down the pipe?
No, we didn't. So, you know, like I said, I don't want to answer any questions. We need to talk about the season, but we didn't know, to answer that question.
You say you and your staff have not paid or have ever, will ever. Are you aware of anyone at Nike or a booster ever doing so or offering to do so?
No.
Why, in your assessment, when this comes up, why do you feel players come to Oregon?
Well, when you say that, you almost insult our school.
No, I'm saying from your perspective, you've obviously accomplished a lot. You've been to the Final Four.
Okay.
You're a very
You've just answered
facilities-rich program.
So, no, you know, we were here, and to get our program started, we took a lot of transfers. We took a lot of junior college players. We got very fortunate with the class of Dylan Brooks, Casey Benson, Jordan Bell, Chris Boucher, all guys that weren't on the radar, and they came in and took us to an Elite Eight and a Final Four. And those kind of winning seasons, we hoped would lead to recruiting success, and we feel they have. We've got good players, but we've always had good players. Whether the press or the recruiting services rank them as good players, that's their decision, but we've always had good players. Arslan Katsimi, Joe Young, you know, we've had good players here. You don't win games without good players, and we've been very fortunate for 8 years. We've had really good players.
Dana, how hard is it to know what's going on all the time? It seems like a lot of what's coming out is there's a lot of people behind the scenes doing a lot of things it's probably hard to keep tabs on.
I'm not sure what your question is.
Just in terms of recruiting, how hard is it as the head coach to know everything that's going on and feel confident that everything's being done right?
Well, I've got a great staff. I have very good guys that have worked a long time for me. Tony's been with me since we've been here. Kevin's been with me 17 years. Mike's going on his 5th year now. So I feel very confident in my staff. I think we work very hard. We think we do a good job, and I think the results have shown.
Have you spoken to Troy, or has compliance spoken to Troy about the accusations?
That I don't know. I've been gone. We didn't practice yesterday. We had a day off, so I was out recruiting. I just got back in.
What's been the reception from recruiting perspective? Are they asking questions at all? Any recruits or? The
recruits been great. You know, the people who have considered us are still considering us, and we've got a lot of work to do to try to tie up the class. But you know, we've had a great response. You know, we've got a lot of good things going here. We play in a good league, play a good style. You know, we've got a lot of exposure. So. You know, it's a great place to go to school. I think that's why 25,000 students go here, you know. So, you know, we'll just keep selling the good things that we have here and hope that we find the right group of young men that want to come play for the University of Oregon.
You said this offseason was going to be really important for a lot of the sophomores to take that jump from what Dylan and Jordan and then Tyler did from freshman to sophomore year. What did you see from the offseason from those guys, and do you feel like they made a big jump?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I've been real pleased with our off season. I think our guys have worked really hard. Kenny's really improved his body. His confidence level on the offensive end is going up, which, you know, last year he did a great job defensively, but offensively wasn't much of a threat. I think he'll be much more of a threat this year for us. VJ's made progress. Abu's made progress. Both of those guys, you know, we've got 5 guys who played for us last year. Peyton, Paul White, and then Kenny, Abu, and VJ came off the bench. So we've got 5 guys with experience, which puts us in a lot better place than we were a year ago with basically only Peyton coming back with any experience. So, I'm excited about those 5 guys leading us. We're going to have to get a lot of contributions from the new guys, but I do have a lot of confidence in those 5 guys.
Kenny said that Paul is the one guy that's had the most improvement, your oldest player.
He's worked really hard. He wants to have a good senior year, and you see that with a lot of players over the course of their careers. That senior year they get a little bit more focused. They realize that it's the last go around, and Paul really has put in the time. He wants to have a good year, and we sure hope that he does. We need him to. We need his experience in a lot of different roles. I think he's versatile. I think he can play a lot of different roles for us.
Kenny said he's shooting the 3 now. Is that something that you'll actually let him?
Well, we won't go that far. But, no, he has been working at it, and we encourage all our players, to continue to work on their skill level, and Kenny has put some time in, and we may let him display it time to time. We'll see how he shoots it in practice, in our scrimmage situations. But his form looks pretty good, and he's looking, like I said, his offense has really improved. I don't think that he'll be a dominant offensive player, but I do think he's someone we can throw it to in the post and get good results.
I remember at one media day like this a couple of years ago, I think I remember Bell was saying that he thought he could start shooting the 3 more. What is Kenny more realistic in those terms than Jordan?
Yeah, Kenny's got a little better form than Jordan did. Jordan's instincts were so good, his passing ability, and because of his experience playing a lot of ball. Kenny hasn't played that much. He started much later than Jordan, so his instincts and his gamesmanship's not the same as Jordan. And one of the reasons Jordan played so much last year for Golden State was just he knows how to play, and his instincts are good. He's a very good passer, and Kenny's got to work on some of those things, but just from a natural standpoint, his shooting form in that is much better.
You have an update on Lewis King? Is he practicing? Or
No, he's doing some things, but nothing live yet. I don't know when he'll be back, but we're hoping that he gets cleared at some point in time.
You putting a no timetable? Are you thinking this could go into the season or late in the season?
I'm not going to make any predictions there. It's just whenever the doctors clear him, we'll get him out there.
What are your expectations for Peyton Pritchard this year?
Well, we need for Peyton to have another good year. I think Peyton's year last year was undervalued by a lot of people. He was solid. His assist-to-turnover ratio, his shooting percentages. I didn't get him enough threes, to be real honest. We didn't get him enough opportunities. Shot 42% from 3, and we probably should have got him a few more threes. So he's worked awfully hard. Peyton's a worker. He'll be ready to go, and he's really trying to give the team everything that it needs defensively. Some vocal leadership. He's sticking his nose in on the boards. He's trying to move the ball around. He's trying to look for his opportunities, which he has to do. But he's had a really good off season, and we're going to depend on him. He and Paul are 2 starters back, and especially early, those 2 guys really got to carry us.
You mentioned how this year's team has like 5 or 6 guys back from last year. Have you seen that carry over into the readiness of the newcomers compared to last season?
A little bit. I think they've done a little better job in the weight room and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that that's a pretty good indication that we're getting some leadership there, and those things usually carry over.
Without a lot of depth in that backcourt, you're going to see those guys needing to be on the ball, off the ball a little bit more than maybe in the past, having more guys.
I think that Peyton's a good ball handler. Will's a good ball handler. We have shown some signs where when he gets in the paint and stays down on the floor, he makes some really good decisions. We need VJ to tighten up his handle a little bit. He's shooting it really good, but we need him to be able to penetrate and handle it a little bit. Abu's cut down his turnovers, which is positive. So I think we got enough ball handlers, but we're not as deep there as we've been in some of our previous teams. So those guys are going to have to handle it for us.
About Bull, I mean, you just trying to find ways to use him. Has he been, now that you've been able to work with him, has it been different maybe than what you saw in film, or been able to?
No, he is very versatile. He can do a lot of things. We do have to find ways to get him involved. Spread the floor for him and be able to penetrate in that. But no, he's worked really hard. He's trying to figure out a way to help our team. And again, we could really use him on the defensive end, the boards. He's very talented, and so he's a versatile player that we need in all facets of the game. But finding ways to use him offensively is going to be a challenge for our staff, just to keep that floor spread, and with him and Kenny, or him and Francis, him and Paul, to be able to use two bigs, maybe even three bigs at the same time.
That work. Maybe if Kenny can step outside a little bit more, does that alleviate that a little more, even if it's just mid-range?
Well, we'll wait. We'll wait and see how that goes here. We got October and November to see where that goes.
What's the process of getting everybody on the same page, given Lou's situation and everything else? Do you reserve judgment on what this team's ceiling could be until a period of weeks or even months?
Whether it was our teams in past years or this team, it's always a work in progress, and the guys determine it. We, as a coaching staff, try to put them in the right positions and try to give them, things to do to help them out. But it's basically boils down to how they adjust and how they work together, and how hard they work, and how much they're willing to give up of their individual game for the betterment of the team. And it's just so hard to predict, October 4th, 5th, how that's all going to work out. But I do think they're really good guys. I think they do want to win. I think the team aspect is pretty good for all of them. So, I'm encouraged. I think they want to work together, but October's such a big month, especially for a team that's trying to blend in 5 freshmen and 1 grad transfer, a lot of new faces, and so it'll be interesting to see how this month progresses, and then November, early challenges, we'll just see how we handle.
Dana, scheduling wise, how did the home and home Boise State come to be?
Kind of a necessity. We just couldn't find anybody to come in, and they couldn't find anybody to come in, and kind of waited till the last to try to get a late game, and neither one of us could, so we just decided to play each other.
You're going away from here more often.
We've got 3 road games. It benefits us in future years. It's a little tougher this year because Houston's a 2-for-1, Boise's a 2-for-1, so we get those guys back twice, and then Baylor's here next year. But we do have 3 true road games, which will test us, and other than the Boise State, the 2 Texas trips are long trips, and then the New York trip's a long trip. So we do have some travel ahead of us, and with freshmen, it'll be interesting to see how they go into those venues. That we're opening up a new building in Houston, so remember what opening night was here. That'll be a big night for them, and Boise's always given us problems. It's a good game for us because they challenge us, give us problems. We've had great games with them, and Baylor, we've played them previous years, and they help prepare us because they play zones and they play different ways. So I always think that Baylor's good playing because you see some zones before the conference season starts.
2K Classic comes up real quick, and you get a couple games here before, but then you're on your way to New York pretty quick.
Yeah, that's a scary tournament. Iowa's got everybody back from a year ago. Syracuse has got, I believe, 4 starters back. And UConn, has always given us fits. So be a real tough tournament. And Syracuse and UConn, that's almost like a home game for them with their crowds. And so we'll have a real tough time, in that tournament, especially with Iowa's experience. And then, you know, whoever we play that second night, the crowd.
There's been a lot of continuity with your staff the last 4 or 5 years. You guys got a new strength and conditioning coach this season. Is he implementing anything different for you guys, or kind of trying to keep it on the same?
You know, Adam got a great job. He got the head conditioning coach for the Charlotte Hornets, and North Carolina was home for him, so that was an easy decision, I think, for him. And but we hired Evan, and really pleased with him. We wanted an NBA guy, and somebody who has that experience and has those ties to stay on the cutting edge, and been really impressed with him. So he's off to a great start.
What's the background for an NBA guy that's so appealing to you?
Well, I think they can stay on the cutting edge of what's going on with the NBA training-wise. I just hire a football guy and they're training for football, and you know, we don't need to lift the basket, we need to put it in the basket, and we need to keep our guys healthy. I think so much of what those guys do is getting them flexible and keeping them healthy. And with all the technology we have over at the Mariota Center, you know, looking for any possible deficiencies that might lead to injuries. We spend a lot of time when players arrive testing them and seeing if there are any deficiencies that we can try to get fixed in the weight room. And Evan's on top of all that. He's familiar with all that. He and Clay work together great there. So, but then again, you know, just staying in contact with NBA people, see what's new in training, I think it helps us.
What are your thoughts on the change of the RPI going to this new metric, and do you have a firm understanding as far as
I
what
don't,
this metric
and
is?
you know, I worry about those things you can't control, you know, and I don't know how it's going to adjust. I understand some other formulas are more important than previous formulas were in the equation, but you know, I don't know how it'll affect this year. You know, I really don't. I think some of the same things, though, you know, road wins, you know, how your team plays, you know, they look so hard at November and December now. So you've got to get off to a good start. You've got to play well early, which is going to be important for this team. So, again, I'm not sure how it'll all wash out, but changes were made, and I think coaches will adjust down the line when they see how it plays out this year. Anybody else?
Yeah, last year you defensively early in the year was on and off, kind of struggled to get guys on the same page. Do you feel like with 5 players back it might be easier, for lack of a better word?
I hope so. I hope so. We didn't have a good year defensively last year, and that's as much my fault as it is the players. You know, our teaching, our focus, it just wasn't good enough. And so, you know, we're going to spend a lot of time, you know, really hammering the things that we think are important and trying to get this team to focus in a little better. But our transition D last year wasn't good. At times our defensive three-pointers was not good. Our activity, our deflections were way down. So, you know, we as a coaching staff and as a team didn't have a good year defensively, and it cost us. We should have had a better defensive team, and I think if we would have, we'd have had a better year.
When you self-scout that, what was it? Guys thinking too much? Guys thinking of reacting, or not communicating? Or
Communication was a big thing. You know, our ability to close out. You know, our closeouts were bad. You know, I didn't think we fought the ball screens well at all. You know, so I'd say those 3 things: transition D, and communication. You know, our closeouts, and then ball screen defense. You know, those 3 things are we're going to focus in a lot more this year.
And obviously, you've got some size now.
Yeah.
Which should help that.
Well, you never know. You know, we've had some pretty good defensive teams that, you know, really got out and pressured well on the perimeter. You know, so we're going to try to keep some pressure on the perimeter. But Kenny Wooten really came on as a shot blocker last year, and Bulbul's very capable. You know, Paul's a good defender. So, you know, I'm hoping that our defense really picks up. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Coach.
Guys are running a little short of time, so we got Ehab and Mean here. Peyton will come over. That's a boo down there if you want a boo.
All right, you want to take Ehab?
Come on over, Peyton, after you make this one. Oh, I jinxed you.